doesn't quite get there. and
I
I'm
love
like,
the
how
color
did we
on
get to
that.
it? Thank
That's
you.
really pretty.
Yeah, thanks. So, even though it's a little wet here, I think I can probably at least continue somewhat on this and see where it goes. So let's work in with these pine trees. Let's use some burnt sienna. Raw sienna, just something warmer. We'll start with some of this. I'm going to skip over this. It's called dry brush. It creates, uses
cool,
the
bark.
texture of the paper. It creates the bark without painting the bark really.
Dry brush.
Dry brush,
So
and it's just, you have to practice it a little bit. But if you go too slow, it'll be a solid line like that. If your brush is too wet, it'll be solid like that. My brush, everything's draining down, so it's getting real wet. But let's see if I can darken it a bit.
Looks just like bark, doesn't it?
Yeah, so you can do some quick things like that. But from a distance, it will read realistically. And let's get a purple, violet shadow. So on a round object, the darkest point of the shadow would be shortly after the light leaves that round surface. So see how that's darker there, and it's lighter because you get reflected light. Light's bouncing off stuff back here, hitting the back side. So let's add a little bit of a darker shadow in a few spots here. We'll see how that works. Might be too much. I can lift some of that off and lighten it up if I need to. There is I cannot emphasize enough about lightening up the darkness if you want your tree to be farther back. I brought one of my paintings to demonstrate that. I'll show you that in a second here. This, you might decide this has too much detail, or at least the whole tree shouldn't be so detailed. So I'm going to leave it detailed here, but soften up some of these other areas. And where it's light against light, I'm going to try and find an excuse to darken this between. See how it's light against dark? Here it's light against light. Let's make this dark there.
Where's the sun coming from? Here?
Over here, yeah.
Okay.
And so hopefully that becomes more obvious as we.
Do you have videos of you painting online?
Not a whole lot. Some of the big paintings that I do for audiences I do.
Cool.
I was just gonna say, I've got a video of him doing one of those religion
Upside
things
down?
right here.
Oh, do you?
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
And when he was doing it up there in northeast Minneapolis, I videoed him doing the whole production. There you guys can look at not only the pictures, but this is the size of canvas, and he's
Oh
starting
my
to talk.
God, and you do that in
And
an
then
hour?
Yeah.
We just went all the
Just
way
big
through
brushes.
him until he was finally done. where
At
he's
lunch,
working
I
on it,
wanna
and
look
that's
at
the
that.
final picture.
Yeah.
So cool.
And people couldn't believe, that he had, when I'm looking at this thing, as far as the size.
You should see Joseph, the Technicolor coat one.
You're welcome to take a look at it and go, but like I
Thanks,
said,
Bob.
they're huge, and I just videoed him
Yeah.
through the whole time frame.
Fun.
You're welcome to look at it later.
And let's go. Cobalt blue is a mysterious color that creates this illusion of shadow when you add it into an area that's already dark. So sometimes I like putting it in there. That's not my focal point tree, so I'm adding more blue to it. This will be a birch tree. I can spend a lot of time on birches a little later and show you how to do one well.
Do the little black things.
Yeah, we'll do that on this too, but I'll show you how to do it better. Let's add just a few darks here, because I have some darks here. Just a couple here and there, because that'll bring light. See how when I add dark here, this gets a lot lighter all of a sudden. I don't want too much.
You have to be careful not to do a lot of dark.
Well,
Yeah,
it
want to
depends. You want it to,
80-20 or
yep, you
just
kind of
50-50
balance.
going.
So this painting is more dark than
See how he's
light,
upside down?
and that's by design.
It's that big. Then he flipped it and then people
All
realized
right.
it because.
And then just a little detail at the end will really add. So it depends how detailed you want to be. I've got, this is called a hockey brush. Looks like cake, H-A-K-E.
It's fascinating to watch.
There's
My sister said
what they
it's
call
just
this.
amazing.
It is.
Oh,
I
yeah,
forget the
there's
name of
those
it.
spaces
They
with
cut
the
that
curves.
Birch and Emery.
comb, yeah. A rake, that's what they call it. So let's create some of these branches hanging out here. And I'm going to do the first with not a real interesting color, but it'll be sort of a grayish green that's light, fairly light. And this will create the branches that are far away. And to soften some of these, you can do a spray bottle just slightly on your paper. But now the temptation will be to two things. Cover up all your great sky. You don't want to do that. The second thing will be is to repeat your brush stroke every time so everything looks the same. You want to have daddy, mommy, and baby shapes all throughout.
Those are the little pine
Sizes.
needles, right?
These will be pine needles that are farther away.
Cool.
Yeah, and do we want some like down here? Probably. Like this. Then let's go a little darker and a little warmer. And richer. Like so. And a few of these, but maybe it's too much.
Excuse me, I do have coffee.
Oh yeah.
You would like some?
Coffee. Okay. So, I mean, this is a challenge for me even after all these years of painting. You can see how it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it's just all of a sudden,
Random.
and this is pretty busy already. I need to simplify it, link the darks together in some way. My branches will do that when I add them in there.
What color do you do the darker?
Not necessarily. I sometimes use the same color as I'm using for the needles. Your brain will tell you, oh, they should be brown. But
Don't listen.
artistically, they just need to be a certain darkness. They don't need to be brown. Let's have a few over here. Maybe just a couple in front of here. I don't want to ruin that nice area too much. So.
It's so cool already. I mean, it really, the colors are just beautiful.
So, and this is called a liner or a rigger brush. So let's take some of that same color, maybe just add a tinge of darkness and a touch of burnt sienna to it. And looking at the shapes of some of these, like how the branches kind of hang
Come
like
down.
this. Look at that, how it turns, it goes
Swirly whirl.
back and around. I mean, we can have all kinds of fun with this. I think it needs to be a little darker.
It's really random.
Yep, and kind of stop and start to keep
Don't have a continuous
it.
line,
Yep,
so it goes kind of through the little
right.
pine needles.
And down here we can just like this. You know, a few that are just, you don't always know where these things are going, and it doesn't matter as long as they're in there.
You
They
do
are
get
in
pretty
there.
pink? Yes.
People will believe that.
Oh, no, thanks.
So
Did you
we're
want
kind of
some?
getting to it. No thanks. No thanks.
Anybody else?
I'm fine here, thank you.
See, that's, I kind of filled it in too much almost, but it's a little too busy. But let's see if I can simplify this shape. Pull that together there. It's almost like it's an umbrella over this. I don't like that. So let's make something darker. Have it come down in front here. Like so. And then on the other side, I'm wondering, this is called Windsor Blue. That's a staining color that's very intense. If we take quinacridone gold, it really creates a, if I cut it with the opposite side of the color wheel, a red, and we can get dark spruce branches. We'll have a couple crossover in front of the tree. Like so. A few of these just to kind of create something dark behind all of this. I don't know, it might